It's Friday, May 1st, and this is now on HNN.
From clinical trial to getting it authorized from the FDA, it's been quite the speedy but also effective process.
Breaking news, U.S. regulators allow emergency use of the first drug shown to help coronavirus patients.
We want to make sure nothing gets in the way of these patients getting the medicine.
Here at home, advocates say the massive turnout for free food underscores the scope of the need.
That's mind-blowing.
As the economy begins reopening in phases, florists get ready for the first full day back in business.
These came in overnight.
These stories, plus, are you having trouble using iPhone's Face ID?
It will now recognize when you're wearing a mask. Coming up on This Is Now.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for watching This Is Now on this Aloha Friday. We have some promising news to tell you about.
That's right. Health officials are reporting just one new COVID-19 case today, bringing the statewide total to 619 cases. That new case is here on Oahu. So Hawaii's death toll stands at 16, and so far 532 people have been released from isolation. And we have some breaking news. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration issued an emergency use authorization today for the antiviral drug remdesivir in hospitalized patients with severe symptoms of COVID-19. The FDA says it issued the authorization based in part on the results from a trial sponsored by the National Institutes of Health, which showed the infused drug reduced the time of illness in some severely affected patients. An emergency use authorization is a lower regulatory bar than full FDA approval, but it's a sign that the FDA believes the benefits of the drug outweighs its risk in certain patients. Now, the FDA limited its authorization of the drug to adults and children with suspected or laboratory confirmed COVID-19 and severe diseases. The drug is administered in a hospital setting via IV by a healthcare provider.
Our state senators grilled airport and tourism officials yesterday over the self-quarantine system. They say it isn't working. K.I. Tucker filed this report.
Okay, I would imagine if we're going to open up, we're just not going to let people come in. That the self-quarantine is probably going to last for a while.
However long it lasts, state senators say it needs to work better. Tourism officials said they've called law enforcement 330 times to report visitors who couldn't be reached, despite providing their phone numbers and lodging addresses upon arrival at the airport. Several have been arrested and even sent home. But at a hearing of a Senate special committee, the deputy director of airports admitted the system has serious gaps.
It's an honor system.
No, it's not supposed to be an honor system. We're supposed to enforce it.
The senators say enforcement is key if the state hopes to restart tourism, especially since most infections have been travel-related. The airport official said it's not easy to track thousands of people across 4 counties, with visitors coming and going every day.
As long as you guys have that attitude, then you're never going to make the changes that you need to.
The bottom line is, it's the path to come from Hawaii.
No, it doesn't, Russ. You guys got to come up with a plan. That's your guys' job. How can you be that incapable of coming up with a plan when you got 1,000 people over there?
I don't want to hear that excuse anymore.
The senators are demanding a better plan to track visitors by next week, and they're planning a trip here to the airport to see how it works. At HNL, I'm Keahi Tucker, Hawaii News Now.
Thousands waited for hours in Waipio for free groceries from the Hawaii Food Bank. A line of cars caused traffic gridlock on the H1 freeways, Waipahu off-ramp, and on Farrington Highway before snaking its way to the distribution area where an army of volunteers was ready to load cars with bags of fruit, vegetables, and local meat. Organizers say it shows just how much the pandemic has affected the island's economy. Here's Mayor Caldwell and the food bank's Ron Mizutani.
They're not all getting their unemployment checks yet. They're not seeing the federal aid that they need, and so they don't have money just to get food.
By the end of May, we're looking at distributing 3 million pounds of food on Oahu. That's mind-blowing, and frankly, there's not enough food on Oahu to do that. Somehow, somebody's providing.
Mizutani estimates the food bank gave out 220,000 pounds of food in yesterday's massive turnout. Unfortunately, many who waited for hours did not get anything, but the city and the food bank plan to hold more distributions twice a week around Oahu over the next month.
All right, those federal guidelines to slow the spread of the coronavirus, many of them expired at midnight. At least 33 states have now eased their own rules, but states like ours extended theirs, and that's why we're seeing this protest at the Capitol. But those decisions obviously have sparked protests on both sides. Michael George has a wrap-up. Let's see his report.
Dozens of drivers honked as they drove by the governor's mansion in St. Paul, Minnesota Friday afternoon. The May Day caravan is calling on lawmakers to cancel April and May rent and mortgage payments because of the economic strain of the coronavirus lockdowns. In Michigan, which has the third most coronavirus deaths in the country, demonstrators protested the governor's decision to extend stay-at-home restrictions.
I don't agree with it. We just flat out, we need to get back to work.
But in Georgia, people against the decision to lift restrictions protested by driving hearses around the state capitol. More than 30 states have now eased some restrictions, even as the number of confirmed coronavirus cases in the U.S. climbed to more than 1 million. New York has more than 300,000 of those cases. Still, hospitalizations are on the decline, and in a sign of progress, the field hospital set up here at the Javits Convention Center is closing today. Bagpipers played, and healthcare workers clapped as the final patient to be treated at the Javits Military Hospital was discharged. 69-year-old New York resident Francisco Velasco, who spent more than 2 weeks there. There was more recognition of the work of medical staff Friday with a flyover of B-52 bombers over hospitals in New Orleans and Baton Rouge. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
All right, we have those live pictures for you now. It's frozen there. There's got a few glitches in our live feed coming in. This is at the state capitol. Ashley, you can see way bigger protests than that was there over the weekend or a couple weekends ago. These people are demanding that the state ease up those social distancing guidelines and stay-at-home orders. You can see the police are there. It looks like one of those police officers has a citation book out right now. We don't know if he's giving a citation or not. We see a number of those protesters and people gathered, standing there taking video of what is going on right now. I believe this is why we lost the feed earlier, because our photographer actually moved over to get some of the action that we're seeing right here. But everyone, there is a few people yelling and chanting, but the police officers are there standing by. It really doesn't look like they're making an arrest, but they are talking to the protesters. Our photographer's moving in now to get a little bit closer. That's why we're seeing these glitches there. We'll keep monitoring this feed and bring you any updates as they come in. Of course, we'll have a wrap up on all this action coming up today at 5.
That's right, and it is May 1st, so that means rent is again due for anyone who hasn't worked out a deal with their landlord. Now a free service could help anyone struggling. The Mediation Center of the Pacific recently launched the Rapid Response Landlord-Tenant Mediation Program. It works out a payment plan between the landlord and tenant, including negotiating partial payments.
The tenant doesn't dig a bigger hole for themselves, so that when this moratorium is lifted, all of a sudden we're going to have hundreds or possibly thousands of people being evicted, and this is what we're really trying to focus on.
The Mediation Center also guides renters to resources like legal aid and the Aloha United Way. For more details on the program, just go to our website, hawaiinewsnow.com. Meanwhile, more than 500 inmates have been released early to prevent an outbreak in Hawaii's prisons and jails. Most are non-violent offenders who are behind bars for minor crimes, but prosecutors say inmates like Jordan Cortez were also released. Cortez was convicted of sexually assaulting an underage girl back in January. He was supposed to be in prison until July, but a judge temporarily released him on probation due to the pandemic.
All right, the new White House press secretary held her first briefing this morning. We've got Skylar Henry at the White House, and he filed this report.
I will never lie to you. You have my word on that.
The president's fourth press secretary, Kayleigh McEnany, held her first press briefing, defending the administration's response to the coronavirus pandemic.
This president has one priority, and that is the safety and the well-being of American lives.
President Trump toughened his rhetoric against China this week, shifting blame and suggesting the outbreak may have started in a Chinese lab.
Have you seen anything at this point that gives you a high degree of confidence that the Wuhan Institute of Virology was the origin of this virus?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
The president is considering retaliatory measures against China pending an investigation, though his own U.S. intelligence community has concluded the virus was not man-made or genetically modified.
Intelligence is just an estimate, essentially, and it's up to policymakers to decide what to do with that intelligence. In this case, the policymaker is the President of the United States, and he'll make that decision at the right time.
Over on Capitol Hill, the Senate is gearing up to return next week. Despite warnings from the Capitol physician, there are not enough COVID-19 tests for all members. House committees will return to Washington to conduct in-person business and work on legislation, but the full House will not be in session. Skylar Henry, CBS News, the White House.
Here at home, Lieutenant Governor Josh Green says he is very encouraged by the flattening of the curve in Hawaii because that means more businesses can reopen. He says substantial changes may be coming in less than 2 weeks.
The big businesses that have lots of employees, they will come next. And I actually think you're going to see mid-month a big staunch of businesses open up. I think that by toward the end of the month, we'll be able to lift, assuming the mayors are okay with it, be able to lift the inter-island travel restrictions. And then towards the end of the month, I hope that restaurants and all those other businesses can really start get going. That's 150,000 out of the 250,000 jobs that we lost are local internal businesses that don't rely on tourism.
All right, as this gradual opening up of those restrictions continues to happen, some shops, like floral shops, are getting ready for their first day of business, a big weekend ahead, Mother's Day. Casey Lunn checked out with Watanabe Florists this morning. He filed this story.
Now that back and forth with the state has been settled and florists do have the exemption and are allowed to open up today, they're doing so under a very different set of circumstances. I want to introduce Monty Pereira, General Manager of Watanabe Floral. Monty, first of all, we're in one of the rooms just out of the cooler. Tell me what we're looking at here.
This is our receiving area, and apparently these came in overnight. This is a pile of Stargazer lily. Stargazer lilies are very, very popular for Mother's Day. So you can see they're all really tight right now. And so we leave it in this area, which is at room temperature, to help it to open before the designers start putting it into an arrangement. So these are going to be featured in a number of our pieces that we'll be delivering starting on Monday.
Very good. And the good news for you guys, you've had to lay off staff. It's been very trying, like many industries. You're certainly not alone. But we're excited for next week. Tell me what's happening on Thursday.
Well, soft opening. So we're targeting Thursday we should be more than ready by then. We'll have a bunch of stuff available that are traditionally used for Mother's Day. Maybe not the vast array that people are used to at Watanabe Floral, but we'll have something. 9 o'clock on Thursday, May the 7th, we'll be opening up.
Very good. Slowly seeing signs that things may be getting back to normal. Monty Pereira, thank you so much for being with us today, allowing us in, and for all that you're doing as we're all kind of struggling to get back to some kind of normal. You can follow them at watanabefloral.com for the latest updates. I'm Casey Lund for Hawaii News Now.
If you fly Southwest, starting May 11th, passengers will be required to wear a face mask, and the airline also suggests flyers bring their own hand sanitizer. If you forget your mask, though, they'll have one for you. Southwest also says they've put some strict cleaning and safety practices in place between flights, at the gates, ticket counters, and baggage claims, along with boarding. They say they're also going to limit the number of passengers on each plane and adjust boarding procedures. With people constantly wearing those masks, some iPhone owners are finding the Face ID function can't recognize them. Well, Apple is now addressing the issue. In the new version of iOS, Face ID will recognize when someone is wearing a mask, and the iPhone will instantly pull up the passcode entry screen. That means no more constant searching for your face. The Face ID tool still won't unlock your phone unless you take off your mask, but it will make the switch to the passcode unlock option significantly easier. And today's the last production run of the nostalgic Love's Bakery powdered donuts. You can get them today at the bakery's Kaneohe and Middle Street outlet stores. There will be a limit of 2 boxes per household while supplies last. It's first come, first served. The bakery will not do any holds. The Love's Bakery website says the Middle Street store is open from 6:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. and the Kaneohe store is open from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m.
And these pictures from our producer Lindsay, who works on Center sunrise. As soon as sunrise ended, she hopped in her car and went over to the Middle Street location. Said there was a bit of a wait, but she got her donuts
I am
there.
so sad. Those remind me of my
good.
childhood so much.
It's never good to take a deep inhale when you're eating one of those, though. 'Cause you get,
Or an exhale.
I know. Well, it's like confetti. All right, we're getting to our checking in segment now. Checking in with a high school senior, Pearl City senior, who's having to deal with a very different graduation year. A lot of people are feeling for these kids who are losing out on this milestone that so many of us had. Let's check in with her right now. Here's Taylor.
How has this whole pandemic kind of disrupted life for seniors at your school and yourself personally?
For the seniors at our school, it definitely wasn't what we expected. So we were definitely expecting to still have like prom and like the traditional graduation. So it's definitely a moment of just realizing what was really going on. And then for me personally, it took me a little bit to kind of get used to like hearing that we might not have prom or might not have a graduation that's like traditional. But now I think still having a graduation but not having a traditional is just something to still have for the seniors. And I feel like this whole situation has just been crazy, especially with it being very uncertain. But I think a lot of the seniors are now realizing that it's what's best for the community to keep everybody safe.
I mean, what's the plan now and what do you think about it?
Right now, our plan is to have a drive-through graduation. So it would be like the family would be in one car with their graduate, and only the graduate is allowed to get out of the car. So we're just trying to figure out what it's going to really be set up like. But I do think it's a really great way to still have that moment for the seniors of having them walk across the stage and having their picture taken on that stage. I think that's the sentimental moment that a lot of people are looking for.
What are you going to be doing post Mililani High School as far as college?
So I just committed to UH West Oahu. So I'm going to be majoring in secondary education there. And so I'll be continuing my education at West Oahu.
Okay, thank you so much for your time and congratulations, Taylor.
So much.
And now it's time for our Good Medicine segment. This is all good news in this block, so listen up, guys. Today, the city is asking residents to drape lei around their mailboxes, front door handles, or balconies as a way to celebrate Na Lei Koa Day. It's an effort to spread a little aloha on this May Day since the city had to cancel its annual event this year. Be sure to share your pictures on social media with the hashtag Na Lei Koa.
And that's from Stephanie Lum's family right there.
Aww.
Our 5 p.m. anchor, Stephanie's mom, I believe, decorated her mailbox, and that is a lovely lei around that mailbox.
Very cute. And check this out. Police, firefighters, and NCIS sounded their horns and sirens yesterday afternoon in Kaneohe.
This all started out as a way to get our residents up and out and just feeling alive again, because they love doing the chants and the cheers, and they love doing the singing. We try and get songs that are just super peppy, and the residents get into it.
All right. It's all part of a pep rally for seniors at Pohainani Retirement Community. Each week, residents are encouraged to stand on their balconies and make some noise. It's an effort meant to show their appreciation for those working on the front lines of the pandemic.
I love that. It's very cool. Way to go, guys. All right, get out your popcorn, folks, because CBS is bringing back movie night. CBS kicks off Sunday blockbuster weekend with Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark. Over the next few weeks in May, Sunday movie night will feature Forrest Gump, Titanic, and Mission Impossible. And I have to say, in my YouTubing around and my way extra free time, I found that Titanic has an alternative ending that is just bizarre. You can find it on YouTube. I'm not going to. Was
it on the DVD or something?
No,
I've
it's
never
like you
heard of
have
that.
to search on YouTube to find it, and it's like 20 minutes that you didn't see.
Oh, wow.
There's a twist.
All right.
All right.
So this Saturday was supposed to be the Kentucky Derby, but instead there's going to be a different kind of race at Churchill Downs, the 2020 Kentucky Turtle Derby. Now, 8 turtles with names like Seattle Slow and the Green Mamba will start in the center of a circle, and the first to cross the outer ring wins. Now, Old Forester Bourbon is hosting the event, and you can watch it on its YouTube channel at 7 p.m. Eastern. That's 1 p.m. Hawaii time. And instead of placing bets on the winner, Old Forester's parent company is matching donations to the Hospitality Industry Emergency Relief Fund.
Hey, that's pretty cute there. I'll bet on a turtle. Why not? Why not?
Well, most of us are going to be spending Cinco de Mayo at home this year, and starting today, Taco Bell will be selling at-home taco bar kits. Now, the taco bar will come with enough food to feed a group of 6. It'll include your flour tortillas, your taco shells, your chips, plus all of Taco Bell's standard ingredients like ground beef, shredded lettuce, refried beans, nacho cheese, and those hot sauce packets. So the entire package costs about $25, and it's available for delivery, or you can pick them up at any drive-thru.
Hey, I hope they're doing that here. I take part.
For Cinco de Mayo?
Oh, heck yeah. I love me some Taco Bell. Anytime.
Okay.
So we want to leave you today with this. Check out what these kids got together and did a great singing performance from Ohana Arts. And I'll
When
play that
I
for you
am
now.
down and oh my soul so weary, when troubles come and my heart burdened be,
then I am still and wait here in the silence until you come and stay a while with me. You raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas. I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be.
there is no life without its hunger.
Each restless heart beats so imperfectly. But when you come and I am filled with wonder,
Sometimes I think I glimpse eternity.
you raise me up so I can stand on mountains. You raise me up to walk on stormy seas.
I am strong when I am on your shoulders. You raise me up to more than I can be.